A national flag is far more than a piece of colored cloth. It is a nation's autobiography written in symbols. It speaks of revolution, independence, faith, and the very identity of its people. Few national flags tell a more complex, turbulent, and revealing story than that of Afghanistan. In the 20th century alone, it was altered more frequently than almost any other in the world, making it a unique political barometer. The evolution of the Afghan flag is not merely a series of design changes, it is a vivid, visual chronicle of the profound ideological struggles that have shaped and reshaped the nation. From monarchy and modernism to communism and theocracy, the story begins with a symbol of absolute authority, a simple, solid black banner, flown by the Durrani Empire in the 18th century and later by the Emirate of Afghanistan. This flag was a direct inheritance from the banners of the Abbasid Caliphate. In the Islamic world, the black standard was a potent symbol of sovereignty and religious legitimacy. It made a clear, unambiguous statement. This was a powerful, independent Muslim realm. This solid black field would become the foundational color, a historical touchstone to which subsequent designs would often return, evoking a past of unadulterated power and tradition. The first radical transformation came in the early 20th century, driven by the vision of King Amanullah Khan. After securing full independence from British influence in 1919, Amanullah embarked on an ambitious project of rapid modernization. His new flag was the visual manifesto of this new era. He introduced a tricolor of black, red, and green, a pattern that would define the Afghan flag for much of the next century. The symbolism was a powerful narrative. The black represented the dark past of foreign subjugation. The red symbolized the bloodshed to win freedom, and the green stood for hope, prosperity, and the foundational role of Islam. At its center, Amanullah placed a new national emblem, a mosque's mihrab and minbar, encircled by sheaves of wheat. This emblem masterfully blended tradition with modernity, honoring Afghanistan's Islamic faith and its agrarian base while framing them within the structure of a modern nation-state. Much like the contemporary emblems of European powers, Amanullah's progressive reforms, however, proved too fast for the conservative country, and his overthrow in 1929 ushered in a period of intense instability. The flag became a revolving door of political statements. The country briefly reverted to the solid black banner, a rejection of Amanullah's modernist project. Soon after, the tricolor was restored, but with subtle yet significant alterations to the emblem under the new monarchy of Nader Shah. These frequent changes were not aesthetic whims, they were declarations of regime change, signaling a pendulum swing between reform and reaction, and a deep-seated struggle over the nation's soul. The mid-century brought a new wave of ideological upheaval. The 1973 coup that overthrew the monarchy and established a republic introduced a horizontal tricolor, a deliberate break from the king's vertical design, yet it retained the foundational black, red, and green. This was change, but with a thread of continuity. The true rupture came with the 1978 Sour Revolution, which brought a communist, Soviet-backed government to power. The flag was dramatically changed to a solid red field, a stark and unmistakable symbol of alignment with the Soviet Union. This design deliberately erased every vestige of the country's religious and nationalistic past, replacing it with the international emblem of communism. The backlash was immense. In a deeply religious country fighting a war against Soviet occupation, the red flag was an alien imposition. Recognizing this, the government in 1980 reintroduced the black, red, and green colors in a horizontal layout, but the damage was done. The flag had become a symbol of a foreign-backed, anti-religious regime. With the collapse of the communist government in 1992, the flag changed once more. The victorious Mujahideen, a coalition of Islamist resistance fighters, adopted a new design of green, white, and black horizontal stripes, often inscribed with the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. This was another profound ideological statement. The red of nationalist struggle was gone, replaced by colors and symbols that emphasized a pan-Islamic identity over a national one. The focus was no longer on the Afghan nation-state, but on its role within the global Islamic community. This trend reached its zenith with the rise of the Taliban in 1996. Their flag was the most austere and radical of all, a plain white banner. In Islamic tradition, white can symbolize peace and purity, but in this context, it was an act of erasure. The Taliban's flag wiped the slate clean, rejecting not only the symbols of communism and monarchy but the very concept of Afghan nationalism embodied by the tricolor. It represented their vision of a pure, unadorned Islamic emirate, free from what they saw as the corrupting influences of modern history, tribal loyalties, and nationhood. Later, the Shahada was added in black, transforming the flag into their singular religious and political banner. Following the fall of the Taliban in 2001, Afghanistan's leaders faced the challenge of reuniting a fractured nation. Their choice of flag was deeply symbolic. They resurrected the vertical black, red, and green tricolor from the era of King Zahir Shah, 1933 to 1973. A period widely remembered for its relative peace and stability. The classic national emblem, with the mosque and wheat, was restored to its center. This was a deliberate and powerful act of historical reconciliation, an attempt to bypass the divisive decades of war and reconnect with a more unified past. It was a flag of compromise, representing a hope that Islam, national independence, and a desire for prosperity could once again coexist. That hope was short-lived. The return of the Taliban to power in 2021 brought back their white banner with the black Shahada, the tricolor of the Islamic Republic, which had flown for 2 decades, was lowered, and with it, the symbols of a modern nation-state. Today, 2 flags compete for the loyalty of Afghans. One represents a republic built on a century of national history, the other, an emirate defined by a singular interpretation of faith. The Afghan flag remains what it has always been, a battleground of ideas, and a powerful, poignant symbol of an unresolved struggle for the heart and soul of a nation.